Here in Firefox, we have the same page loaded. We can take a look at the tools that are built into Firefox to allow us to do this. In a fairly recent version of Firefox, I believe Firefox 13, they've added the WebKit developer tools into Firefox. This was not the case before, and if you have any non-recent version of Firefox, there won't be any tooling built in except maybe View Source into Firefox out of the box. But if you have a recent version, you will be able to look under Firefox under Web Developer, and there'll be a couple of tools. Unlike what we saw in Chrome or even Internet Explorer, these tools are kind of separated apart. For instance, the Web Console is much like the console window we saw before, where it's going to show errors or warnings, as well as allow us to be able to run, in this case, a jQuery query and get some data back, or even be able to change the text. So the Web Console is very similar to the Web Console tab we saw in Internet Explorer and in Chrome, and in fact will allow us to do those same things. We can go ahead and just put ad hoc JavaScript directly in the command line and have it execute. In fact, this is live, so we could actually do something like change text on the fly. So the Web Console in Firefox is much like the console window we saw in Internet Explorer and in Chrome, in that we can go ahead and evaluate JavaScript directly. Could even take this and change some element of the page. In this case, I'll set the text to all the H2s. In this case, there's only one, to something that we can actually see from the console window. The tool you'll probably use more than any of these, though, is the Inspect tool. Inspect allows you to literally look at different elements on the page. So when I pick Inspect, it's going to allow me to scroll around and find some part of my design. And I'll grab this div that includes our game information. And when I do this, it's selected and we can now look at individual information about it. We can see that they've created a breadcrumb on the bottom, as well as being able to actually dive into different parts of the design. And they have these buttons over on the right hand side to allow us to look at different parts of this. So let's click the HTML, and this is very similar to the HTML or Elements windows we saw in the other browsers. Allows us to actually look at them, and by popping open the style window, we can actually see the style that we've got selected as well, what rules and what computed values are in use here. One thing that Firefox has that the others don't is this interesting 3D view. And the idea behind 3D view is to really show the layering of your HTML page. And sometimes that can help you figure out what's going on. So in the 3D view, if we go and rotate it, we can see the stacks of different information that are shown on the page. They've projected these into 3 dimensions so we can get a sense of what actually is being shown, or how our page is being layered on top of each other. Even though these tools are built into the later version of Firefox, I tend not to use them. In Firefox, I tend to use something called Firebug and the web developer tools. These are add-ons that are installed into Firefox separately, and we'll be covering that coming up very shortly.